in the 1960s, we had the advent of civil rights that was created not for the humanitarian benefit of Negroes, or because white people thought they wanted to stop discriminating against black people, and they felt so guilty that they wanted to allow Negroes to now live in harmony with white people and provide equal employment opportunities and stop treating black people as animals and allow them to live peacefully alongside white people. That is not why the Civil Rights Act was passed. It was passed because you niggas were threatening the power structure of this country, because when you were allowed to live in segregated communities, your communities were growing and becoming powerful, business-wise and industry-wise and educationally wise. You niggas were becoming too strong as segregated communities, and white people understood your superiority. Even though you didn't understand it, white people looked at the picture across the street and across the railroad, and they saw the talent and strength of you Negroes, and they became threatened. White people became terrorized by what they were seeing. So they began to take efforts to develop strategies, non-violent strategies, to destroy these niggas across the railroad track before they became too powerful to handle. Just as the Pharaoh in Egypt looked at the Israelites that lived within Egypt and said, these niggas are powerful and talented, and they're ruling our country, because Joseph and his boys were second in charge to Pharaoh, and they're black like us, but they're not Africans, they're Israelites, and they're not us, they're not from our bloodline. And if we allow these niggas to live here, and these Israelites to live within the borders of Egypt, sooner or later they'll become powerful, too powerful, and become too plentiful. And if they attach themselves with our enemies, they could overcome us. So let's deal wisely with them, and let's enslave them. And we see that, after that consideration of Pharaoh, that was the final destruction and enslavement of the Israelites that lived within Egypt. We are the Israelites that live in America. We are the descendants of these Israelites that lived in Egypt, and white people know it, and that's why they've been treating us the way they've been treating us for so long. But that's a whole nother subject that I can get on, because black people in America, they don't believe or know that they are the descendants of Israel spoken of in the Bible. But because they don't believe it doesn't mean that it's not true. All they gotta do is read the Bible and open their minds, and they'll see that they clearly, African Americans in America are clearly the descendants of Israel. But white folk looked at black people developing looked across the railroad track and saw these niggas developing these segregated communities, becoming strong economically, socially, and politically. They were learning how to read and write. These niggas could think. They had their own institutions, HBCUs. They had their own colleges, educational systems. These niggas were they were starting to exemplify and show their true nature. HBCU football programs. White people were terrorized at the very thought of playing these Negroes on the field, because they would be totally embarrassed. They would be totally embarrassed about how these black teams would destroy them, because black teams were so talented, so I mean obviously physically superior, they would not. They had to make it illegal for these niggas to play white teams. So same thing was occurring academically and business wise. So white people did not play around. They started making plans, and they finally made plans on how they're gonna deal with you niggas, and they dealt with you very effectively because you niggas had began to learn how to think and write, and you know, you developed the entire United States of America. You built it. And you also, in ancient history, you developed and built Egypt. And white people know this. White people know you are the Israelites that developed the empire of Egypt and built the pyramids. And they brought your behinds over here in the 14th century in the 15th century to start building their civilization. And basically you built the entire modern civilization, Western civilization, with your skills, know-how, and manpower. So, and you became plentiful. So your skills are no longer necessary in this modern American society. So you have been tolerated, not Americanized or integrated.